All right, Brent Porcio and Stephen Godani here for at Top Velocity #pitching tips show. If you've got any questions about pitching or what we do here at Top Velocity, go to Twitter and at Top Velocity or at Stephen Godani #pitching tips and ask your questions and we'll answer it on the next episode. So what's our question today?
Sam Raleigh asks, do overhead lifts put too much stress on shoulders and reduce thoracic mobility?
Good question. The big challenge here is that throwing, wear and tear actually weakens the shoulder. If we look at who throws the most on the baseball field, the pitcher, and the pitcher has, as studies show, have the weaker shoulder. So how do we attack this problem? It is a challenge. But here's the kicker. If we don't learn to overhead press, it's really hard to build shoulder strength, which if we have weak shoulders, we really need to compensate for that and strengthen our shoulders. I don't believe we need to handicap ourselves because we keep just compounding the problem, and it ends careers, right? So how do we overhead press to strengthen the shoulder? That's where we have to be careful. So obviously what's an overhead press? Anything I'm pushing up above the head. And the things that we gotta be worried about is impingements, of course the spine, are we overloading the lumbar spine, the lower back in our pressing? And really that's pretty much it. So technically there is a challenge here. So if you're gonna do any overhead pressing to first avoid impingements, which is what tore my rotator cuff, not lifting, throwing, because impingements will actually affect you more throwing than it will in a weight room. But still, it's a problem in both aspects. But how do we deal with the shoulder and avoiding impingements? It's really with the clavicle. The clavicle is the bone on top of the shoulder. If it's sitting directly on the top of my shoulder and I lift up, I'm going to impinge the supraspinatus, the little rotator cuff muscle under it, meaning it's going to press into it. And if I'm rolling it around and stuff like that or pushing heavy weight, that can fray and tear and eventually, over time, many times of doing that can damage the muscle. So to get the clavicle out of the way, we need good scapular function. So we want the scaps to retract when we go up and then protract when we come down. That means they kick out when we come down, they pull up under your underarm when you go up. So to help that, pinch and feel your blade, your wing here, suck up under your underarm when you go up, because when you feel that blade suck up under your underarm, you're gonna feel the bone or the clavicle wanna move more to the posterior, the back of the shoulder, and now you have room to press. The other things that we can do is we can make sure the elbows are more in front of their face. Once again, that'll get away from the clavicle. So just feel your bone, retract your scap, get it back, get it to the posterior shoulder when you press up, and just feel like there's no impingement, meaning the bone is in the back. It's not sitting over the top, and then we've conquered that issue. The other thing is the thoracic spine. If the thoracic spine doesn't go into extension well like this, if it stays here, then we're gonna overroll the lumbar spine to go up, and now we put all the load in the lumbar spine, which can eventually hurt our low back. So we have to get some good thoracic mobility along with some good scapular retraction to get into those upper head presses, and then we're fine. Then we can build an upper body strength that we really need as pitchers to strengthen and protect our shoulders. So what we can do is we can do, there's a great even yoga roller. It's a big roller, I forgot what it's called, but it's a big circular roller that you put on your spine, and you roll your spine and you really work into that thoracic mobility, and you help open that up. That'd be a good thing to do before you do your overhead pressing, do that thoracic roll. Okay, you can also do that with a big Dynamax medicine ball on a 45-pound weight or plate. Just lay it on the ground, lay on top of it where all this opens up, and get that good thoracic mobility. So when you go to press up, all this opens up. It doesn't stay here, and then I overdo the lumbar spine. So if we can attack those two things, we can do overhead pressing, and we're fine, and we're not going to destroy our arms. We're actually going to make our arms healthier and stronger to handle more stress on the mound. What do you think?
I completely agree with that. I think people just baby pitchers too much, to be honest with you. Like, everybody's all worried about this, but like he's saying, if you have the mobility and you're doing it correctly, you're going to be strengthening your shoulder, and that's the main thing. A lot of pitchers just don't have good shoulder strength and good shoulder stability, and when you want to be throwing 90 plus miles per hour, you have to have strong shoulders to keep that shoulder in the socket and keep it from tearing.
Yeah, you will throw harder, and most important, you will last longer into a season. All right, so if you have any questions for us here at Top Velocity, Go to Twitter at Top Velocity or at Stephen Godani, hashtag pitching tips, and give us your question, and we'll answer it on the next episode.
Hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work